statement, please?
Certainly.
And then you won't hear from me. With all due respect to our town supervisor, welcome to the community. I've lived here all my life. And when we used to have things like properties being sold or noted as surplus, there were notices that went around and mailed to, telephone poles, in the paper. So a little bit more transparency as time goes on, because had Skyview Acres not been notified about the vote that was about to take place on the Stryker property, that would have been said and done, and we literally had hours to respond to that. So just a little more transparency, because it makes it feel like there's a lot of underhanded business taking place down at the town of Ramapo, which we know has been of recent.
Let me just address that, and I understand what you're saying, and the way it was put on was a mistake. The vote that night would have been to surplus it, but not necessarily to sell it, which is a separate action. But at this point, nothing's happening. It's not been surplused. No plans to sell any property. What we actually did, what I wanted to do, even though it's not something that's required under the law, we created a committee of town employees, the Town Asset Review Committee, to study all of the properties that we have, whether they should be kept, sold, dedicated, repurposed, every single property, not just the Conklin property, but
the
Stryker property. No. Let me finish. We actually, the purpose is we have. I'm on the committee. We have a council person on the committee. We have the finance director, the Parks and Recreation director. We have an attorney on the committee. We have another employee who's like our property manager. But we're going to have public meetings where people will be allowed to participate and come in and give your opinions and hear what's happening. The first one we have tentatively, and we may have to change it because we might have a conflict with the next charrette. We didn't realize at the time, December 19th at 7 p.m. at Town Hall. We may move it a day or two in either direction so people can go to both. But that will be the first of at least 2 meetings. When we go to the meeting on that date, the committee will have some information. We'll present all the properties to the public, receive input, receive participation, not make any decisions that night. Come back maybe a month later, 45 days later, whatever works for everybody. Follow through. At some point in time, the committee will then make written recommendations to the town board for each of the properties, and everything will be done at a town board meeting in public, and people will have a chance to come in and address the board and speak about it. We're not looking to do anything in a vacuum. We're not looking to do anything in a hidden smoke-filled room. These are properties that affect everybody, and I certainly don't want to do something with a property that may be the wrong decision, may not be right for the whole community. There may be no easy answers. There may be things that we all can't agree on a particular property, because I'll tell you, since the Stryker property first came up, I've had people that are very against the idea of doing anything with it, and I've had people that are very in favor of doing the idea. And we have to balance that. We have to look at a lot of issues. Some of these properties have legal issues, environmental issues that will preclude doing anything. So that's a separate issue. But we want to examine all of it. We don't want to do it just isolated, and we want to make the right decisions. We want to listen to everybody who's interested. So we're trying to do it in a new way that's never been done before, and I appreciate your concern, and we're trying to do it that way.
I have a question about that.
Sure, Dave.
So, and I commend you on finally doing what I think should have been done in the first place.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for doing that. But before you go out to your first meeting, and while you're doing your fact gathering and your homework and all the rest, have you thought about having a little meeting to discuss perhaps what information you should be compiling, so that when you go to the public, you're going to the public with like the answers, like the stuff that we would want to see answered.
Right.
Sort of like, what are the columns of the spreadsheet to fill in?
I understand. We just put this together this week. We had the first meeting very preliminarily the other week. People were told that day, they were appointed to the committee, what the role would be. We're actually meeting again tomorrow. We're going to assign tasks to everybody. We're going to try to get a list of all the properties soon, and that's something we'll do our homework on, because I want a meeting in December where we'll have, whether it's spreadsheets or some other format, we'll have all the information out there so people know. There are properties, I'm sure, that many people don't even know exist in the town, or that we own, that I didn't know we own, that a lot of the staff didn't know we own. So we're going to see what we're going to do with all of them. Some maybe things nobody will miss. I'll make a prediction. We have the quarry property in Suffering. I don't think anybody would miss it if we sold it and we made some money on it, and it became a use that is suitable for the zone it's in, and it's in the village of Suffern, it's in Suffern zoning, it's not the town zoning. If we could sell it for something that will make Suffern happy and put some money in our pocket, I think it's a win-win. Right now, it's not a site that's being, well, let me correct that. The only people using it are using it illegally. Over the summer, people were going up there and swimming in